Ah, Activision. You know, there was a time when Activision didn't make bad games all the time. Yeah, surprising, I know. There was a time when, if you saw Activision on the cover of your game, you could expect quality and fun. The greatest example, in my opinion, is Activision's Pitfall, released on the Atari 2600 in 1982. And if you ask me, it still stands as the greatest Activision title ever made. So, you turn it on, and there's your dude, Pitfall Harry. Yes, that is his name. Don't question it. Of course, though, you can't start the game unless you start moving. So, yeah, you can either go left or right. But the direction doesn't matter, because the goal is the same. Basically, you play as, well, Pitfall Harry, and you go around and you collect 7 different treasures. Now, in the video, you're probably only going to see 3, because I couldn't find the other 4. Simply because I kept getting a game over and over again, because I don't know this game too well. I don't know half the screens that are in it, so I'm not really able to predict what to do next. But either way, you go left or right and you collect things, and there's points, which, if you touch the logs, it goes down. And yes, there are logs. Sometimes they'll be standing still, sometimes they'll be rolling. But either way, they deplete your points, which act as your energy. When you collect a treasure, you get a bonus of points, basically meaning that you can play for a little longer. Not that that would matter, because the timer clearly says 20 minutes. Yep, you have 20 minutes and 3 lives, including the honorary 0 life, to collect each and every one of the 7 treasures in the game. What happens when you collect all of them? Well, the game simply stops. Yeah, there's no ending. That's it. Basically, it's one of those arcadey titles that you just run around and try to get the best score possible. But that was common back in these days. You didn't really have too many games on the 2600 that you could actually beat, but who cares? Pitfall is just fun. Now back to the actual game itself. Of course, in the video, you probably see all the big opening and closing puddles. Well, you know, the ones that open and close. There are some that just stay there, some that open and close. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know, do they evaporate? Does the liquid sink into the ground and come back up? I don't know these things. But either way, if you happen to jump into those, you die. Yep. Instant death. There's a few instant death scenarios that occur. Jump into an alligator, you die. Jump in the alligator's mouth, you die. Fall into the alligator's mouth, you die. Touch a fire, you die, even though I didn't die to the fire. There's also snakes, which stay still. Touch them. You die. Yeah, didn't touch them either, because too pro. And then there are the scorpions in the underground level. Yeah, you think I was going to ignore that bottom half of the screen? Problem is, you're really not going to go down there too often. All it really does is act as a fast travel between screens. But then again, you're skipping screens, so you don't know if you've accidentally passed one of the game's treasures or not. And it also happens that it's pretty much randomized where you go. Sometimes there's a brick wall, sometimes there's not. And you'll go through the screens on the upper level, you know, above where you just were, and found out that one of the areas that you passed through just so happened to have a brick wall. So, how did you not get stopped? Who knows? And frankly, who cares? But yes, there are the scorpions. Touch them, and you die. Now, 1 or 2 problems that you might see is that the controls lock up for a second. that's just something that happens with these old controllers, you know. They're more than 40 years old, and, well, they don't age too well. So, eventually, it just stops working out right. Unplugged it, plugged it back in, still didn't work. So, bust out the gemstick. And really, you won't have too many problems, but yeah, sometimes the control is stiff and it's hard to predict where you're going to land when you jump. But overall, the game is very fun, and I highly recommend it to anyone who really wants to play a good Activision game and a good Atari game in general.